Is Spencer Strider broken? Or has this just been an unfortunate string of bad luck and he's going to turn things around on Monday? We're about to find out. Hey, you're watching The Perfect Lineup, where Josh Engleman and myself, Dave Loughran, look to take down a tournament with two of our pitchers, one stack. Let the single lineup sims do the rest of the work. And of course, even if things don't go as planned, you can always grab a free week of the MLB Sims. All you got to do, leave a comment down below. Let us know who you think will be the highest scoring stack tonight. No one got it on Friday as the Seattle Mariners took top honors. Turn that around today. Grab a single week, a free week of the Sims and everything included. And of course, if you appreciate this content, hit that thumbs up, subscribe to the channel. It's free to do. And let's get into it. All right, so we returned from the weekend with an 8-game slate. Pitching's a little weird here. Some good-looking stacks today. Coors Field on the slate as well. And guess what? We're going to Coors Field for pitching today. That's right. Yoshinobu Yamamoto played at Coors, as a matter of fact, not long ago, and he was our SP1 in this very video. He went 5 scoreless, 1-hit innings with 6 strikeouts on only 56 pitches, and you guys probably remember this, before his start was cut short by a rain delay. We were looking at a complete game shutout there, honestly. We were tracking at the very least. Now, here's the thing. I think Spencer Strider's probably pretty chalky tonight. Home spot against the Chicago White Sox, one of the worst teams versus righties in baseball, but he has not looked right lately. Now, maybe he's just been a little bit unlucky. That's possible, but we got to break it down for a second. Now, if you look at his slider and his seldom used curveball, he uses the slider a lot, really like just 4-seam slider mix for the most part, but both the slider and the curveball look good, real good. The fastball, the 4-seamer, on the other hand, has not been good. Last year, he only pitched like 9 innings. If you go back to 2023, his last full season before, the season-ending injury last year, his 4-seamer was sitting 97, above 97, with a 14% swinging strike rate against lefties and 18% against righties. Straight elite numbers. This year, he's sitting 95 with an 8% swinging strike rate against lefties and 7% against righties. An insane dip. There's just no denying that. So, of course, you're more than welcome to run him out there against the White Sox. They're bad. And you know what? Maybe he turns things around. But you can't deny right now that this is a matchup thing and not a, hey, Spencer Strider's elite right now type of position that you're going to take on this game. He's also $10,000 in the most expensive pitcher on the slate. So, yeah, I'm going with a $9,400 Yamamoto against the Rockies, who, despite this home matchup, they still have the second highest K rate in the league, second lowest WRC plus against righties. And even if you were to isolate and say, you know what, let's see how every team does only at home this year, they still have the second highest K rate and 8th lowest WRC plus, despite Coors Field being their home park. So yeah, as the risk I'm willing to take, $9,400 Yamamoto is our SP1. Now at SP2, I'll take the bait on Nestor Cortes again tonight. He was fine for us last time we played him last week. We featured him here as our SP2. Nothing crazy, but he was cheap, gave us 16 plus DraftKings points. You can live with that. And now he gets a home spot against the Giants, who have the lowest total. Listen to this, because you got some decent pitchers. You got Freddie Peralta, you got Yamamoto, you got Strider. The lowest total on, you got Robbie Ray. Lowest total on the slate, 3.8 run implied total for the Giants at Petco Park against Nestor Cortes and company. So yeah, I mean, since returning from a 4-month stint on the IL, he's been pretty good. Not great, only 2 starts, but good enough, absolutely good enough. And the Giants' active roster actually has the second highest, K rate among all teams against lefties. It's risen all the way up to 26.2%. And Cortes has a pretty juicy K prop, 5.5 Ks at only $6,500. I understand it's unlikely that he goes more than 5 innings, but he does have a 14.5 K prop, minus 200 juice to the over. So it's 6,500 again with a 5.5 K, pair it with a 5.5 K prop. Not bad at all. He hasn't thrown 80 plus pitches in any of his first 2 starts, but you could see him get worked a little bit higher now that this is his 3rd one into it since returning from the IL. The pretty obvious pivot now in this spot would be $6,900 Dustin May against Baltimore. I think either of these guys look good, but for the purpose of this video and to let Josh work these into the single lineup sim with his stack, we're going Yamamoto and Coors. We're going Nestor Cortes at home against the Giants.
Coming off of Friday, we had no Laffy. I gave you guys the A's. They ended up being the 3rd highest scoring stack. I think we had a pretty good week on the hitting side, and I want to control that again starting this week by going to my Atlanta Braves. Now we're going to start that off by hopping into the top stacks tool. We've got them 4th in top stack, 4th in top value, 5th in stack score, and they happen to be 2nd in ownership, but they're less than half of the number 1 team in ownership. So while it sounds like they're kind of high, relatively speaking, ownership is not going to be much of an issue for Atlanta. Gomez on the opposite side, he's not a prospect in any way. Now, the strikeout stuff for him has been decent in the minors. It hasn't played like that at all in the majors. So my expectation is he's just a guy we don't have to pay attention to as if he's going to be anything special. What we do want here are lefty bats when we can get them. So if that's Matt Olson, Baldwin, Harris, you've got switch hitter options like Profar and Ozzie Albies, and then you have the righty bats. Clearly Acuna and Ozuna are 2 that you'll pay attention to. Alvarez or Allen, probably a little bit less so. And the weird part for me here is they're not like anything special in their active roster aggregate data. So far this season against righties, 105 WRC plus, that ranks 18th. 159 ISO, that's 21st. If you just want to look at home games, 101 WRC plus, that's 20th. 154 ISO, that's 18th. So they're just sitting in that like slightly below average range for most of this year. But the matchup works, the pricing works. These guys are a much better value than they normally are. And honestly, I really just think that my boys are going to have a hell of a day today. So now we head to the single lineup simulator at stokastic.com to find out just how good will Yamamoto, Cortez, and a Braves stack look. I went with Baldwin, Olson, Albies. We've got Acuna and Michael Harris. We need a third baseman, a shortstop, and 1 more outfielder. And we have $4,100 per position to do so. I think we're going to be able to fill this out in a pretty good manner. And we're going to do that by clicking complete this lineup to get the optimal plays. We get 3 one-offs, but I'm totally going to be okay with that because we get Ke'Bryan Hayes for Cincy, but they're in a really nice spot against the Angels. We get Gabriel Arias in at short, so we're only spending $2,600 and $2,700 there. Not the most illustrious bats, but I'm okay with the matchups. And then we just so happen to pay all the way up for Shohei Ohtani, a 7K hitter, but we're not having that much ownership in our lineup. Even if he is 40% owned, that works for what we have here, but we'll find out for sure by clicking Run Lineup Simulation. And it does look good. 30% sim ROI, 0.2% chance to win, 1.7% chance of a top 10% lineup, and a 32% cash rate. And we had plenty of things that we could move around. We could try to get Marcell Ozuna into this lineup if we wanted to. We could save some salary and take Acuna out if we really needed to, and really get a chance to pay up for some of those Dodgers bats in cores or some of those Cincy bats in against LA or in LA. I think it's in LA. It's definitely in LA. Either way, we can get more of them. Since he's 2nd in the top stack tool, we can get all of that if we really want to move these Braves bats around. But either way, you should be going to those Braves bats because my Atlanta Braves build you a perfect lineup.